I'm gonna go right down the center of the driveway, and we're gonna scrub those things back and forth a couple of times to try to clean them out and break them up before we bring any more in, because otherwise you just plug up your moldboard with these pieces. And you can see I'm running them over in front tire, smash them out. Big old moldboard full. Make her work. Like I said, we'll just keep scrubbing them back and forth. Some areas are heavier than others. I pulled in quite a bit in that section there. So we'll run them, scrub it back and forth to clean that out. And once it's broke up, you can see that stuff's cleaning out pretty good. The idea is to catch it on the far side as much as possible, scrub it all the way across the road as far as possible, and that way you're taking as much material out of there, breaking that clump up, tumbling it as many times as you can. Rocket science. So this is just my driveway, so it'd be like a one-lane road, right? So it's the same principle, big grader, big road, work the shit, work it. 4 passes minimum. Everybody wants to do 2 and call it good, but 4 passes minimum. Come on now. Not like we ain't paying for it. Shit. Taxing us for it. Do the fucking job. That's all I'm saying. Also, this will give us an opportunity to work on this crown a little bit. So let's start building the material into that crown. And then we'll come back and we'll take a little bit more in from the sides. My goal is to get about 4 inches, make about 2 to 4 inches on each side today. That's what I want to gain. That's being realistic for the equipment that I got and the amount of time that I want to spend trying to scrub it out. I want to take like 1 to 2 inch passes, just narrow little ribbons. And that way, sometimes it wads up, but if I'm taking narrow little cuts, it's a lot easier to scrub the material out of it than it is if I take big chunks. Sometimes you get big chunks that come with it. That's what roots do, but we'll keep scrubbing here for a while, and I'll bring it back and show you once we're getting somewhere. It's not looking too bad right now, but we got a long ways to go. We're probably gonna make, what's this, number 5 going, so we're probably gonna at least double what we're doing, maybe even more. It's just gas and time. Gas is expensive, time's expensive. Fuck it. Okay, so now that I've made the what I would call the scrubbing passes, we're pulling material in from the side, we're scrubbing it across the road to clean it out. You can either bring material in from the sides, or you can finish the road. You can't do them both at the same time. I don't give a fuck how good you are with a straight blade on a grader. You're not doing them both in one pass. Fuck you. Anybody that tells me you can fucking pull material in and fucking finish grade when you're pulling in sod like that, you're out of your fucking mind. You're pulling in gravel, yeah, good, fine, I don't care, but okay, so that side was pitched high to scrub it out and let it come underneath the blade, tumble it, break it up, all that. Now I want to bring my material in from the sides, get them up, get it into the middle, because you can see line, because I've been just working that material in and scrubbing it across, back and forth across the road. So now I want to bring my material up into the middle of the road and make my windrow like you see a lot with the your local municipality graders. So we're gonna get a little bit of downforce on these things, huh? So essentially right now we got pretty much got both wheels off the ground, pretty well flat. You'll notice that side's a little bit higher. We still want that side to be low because we still want to create crown in the road. So That gear is a little bit relieved compared to this one. We stick our strap back through here so that way these wheels don't want to back off on me. Set you here, through there, down and around. Like I said, anybody that says you can bring material in and finish the road in one pass, you're full of shit. You aren't creating any crown on the road if you're doing that, or you're throwing it all the way across the other side. The township down here is they're great at pulling material and scrubbing it all the way across the other side, taking all those balls and scrubbing the gravel all the way to the other side, and they don't fix a fucking thing. They don't fill any holes. They create holes because it balls up in front of the moldboard and then gouges a hole out, takes that material with it, throws it on the other side of the road too. It's fucking terrible. Another thing, if you're scrubbing the road, because I don't have a way to change the angle of the blade with power, if you're on a grader, you have that ability to, if you're scrubbing across, that material starts getting to the far side of the blade before it cleans out. You can straighten that blade more and raise it just a touch, and then you also can tilt that fucker forward. I can do that on this one too. I gotta put new bolts in here, so that way I can camber that forward. It'll scrub that material a little bit better. So that is something that we need to do to this. And I guess that'll be another video when we're working on a grader, huh? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go pull my material into the middle and we'll make our windrow. chunks that we brought up are all nice and scrubbed out, nice and clean. They're just little balls of grass. When we get done here, I'll show you. I got a couple up here that aren't. They're a little bit wet and a little bit tough. And I'll show you what we'll, when we get done here, I'll show you how that goes. But right now, we're just moving the material into the middle and creating our windrow. That's all we're doing right now. Another note here, because we go up and go around the cul-de-sac, so I do as many passes as the cul-de-sac needs, which is, turns out going, you know, if you go up and around on a cul-de-sac one direction, that's 2 passes on the driveway for 1 pass on the cul-de-sac. So you can see it here, this material is a little bit wet. We had some standing water in here, and it gets a little bit clumpy when it's wet like that. But that's okay. We're still gonna make a couple of passes here, and I have this low spot that needs a bucket of gravel in it, right there. One bucket of gravel from the tractor would fill that thing in nicely. So that's got to get addressed here before too long. So it kind of drives me nuts. The rest of the driveway sheds water pretty nice. So the idea here is to take and make our, for me anyway, is to make our windrow, and then we're going to take it all the way to one side of the driveway, and then we're going to take it all the way back to the other side. That way we fill in any holes that we weren't able to cut out. There's a couple down that direction that this grader's not heavy enough to cut them out, and the road's not quite soft enough. We'd actually have to have a little bit more rain for that. But then I'd have to do it with a wet driveway, and that makes more of a mess. So it is what it is. I can fill them in, and like I say, when I top cap this driveway, that'll take care of a lot of that. But we have a rock crusher build coming here before too long. So, well, I'm gonna finish grading this driveway, and I'll bring it back, and we'll take a look at the finished product. All right, so we're walking down the driveway here. I want to address a couple of things with you, show you kind of the finished product here. I made one more pass on it than I initially figured, whatever, because I wasn't quite grabbing the middle the way I wanted to, so I came back and made another pass. Either way, it feathered everything off. So you can still see the crown. We cut on the crown just a tiny bit, but we brought everything up. And I wish I could show you, but the crown is kind of, it's not quite center. It's a little bit off, like right there, which is okay. It does, as long as you got some crown in it so it'll shed water, you're okay. And then, so we brought that material back across the driveway and then feather it off on the edge. So when we come back and we regrade again, we can grab that material, bring it back, and I have material to fill in holes and kind of get the blade started. When you have something, that dry material sitting over on the side there, particularly because I still want to keep pulling in a little bit of the sod every time, you can see how the edge of the driveway is actually below, but we can go out a ways and keep bringing that material up. I mean, fuck, I can go a foot and it wouldn't bother me a bit. On this side, probably 6 or 8 inches on this side, and you can camber that blade into the ditch and start sloping that, but bringing that material in, scrubbing the grass out. Now, how much you've seen those piles, the sod, the garbage, right? You've seen all that. There's a couple here that got kicked over to the side. Okay, so those couple, but you seen how bad it was in here? By scrubbing these all across the road, this is probably the worst one right here, and it just falls apart. Scrubbing these across the road, all you have is grass. These are just, it's just grass now. They're clean. That's your bigger chunks. But, and we also, you notice I tried to time it, so we left a lot of that material in that little depression. You can still see it. I don't know if you can see it on the film here, but you can see that depression kind of right there. That's part of the issue. Like I said, a bucket or two of gravel on there with the tractor and it'd shore that right up. But otherwise, everything is scrubbed out. I didn't leave anything on the fucking driveway where it would have to get ran over. I know some of these guys leave this shit on the road and people have to run it over because they're trying to pound the dirt out of it. You fucking morons. Put it over on the other side, let it dry out, come back. If it's that bad and you don't feel like making more fucking passes, leave it over on the shoulder of the road, let it dry out, come back, grab it again, and then do a scrubbing pass. You can't do both. You can't bring material in and finish the road at the same time. It doesn't fucking work. It just doesn't work that way. So, unless your banks are higher. If your banks are higher than the road, you probably can, but then chances are you got bigger problems than that. So yeah, once we get another rain, a fresh rain again, I can come back and hit it. Right now it'd be too dry by tomorrow, even it'd be too dry to grade it, but it's nice and flat. There's about 2 or 3 potholes down there that were too deep for me to cut all the way out, but I filled them in nice, and hopefully it'll set up. We moved around plenty of material that was nice and wet down there. It wasn't real dry like this. You can see I made enough passes. When we started cutting this morning, it was pretty wet down here, and now it's just dry. So you could actually go back right now if you really wanted to and pull in another cut, but I'm calling it for the day. I have other things to do. I can't drive around on the fucking tractor all afternoon, and plus that way we can make more grading videos for you, for fuck's sake. If you guys like what I'm doing, throw me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, ring the bell, get my notifications. Memberships are down there if you want one. I do appreciate it because you guys are the ones that help me, give me the ability to do this shit. So I think I'm gonna go cut the grass. Grass got a little out of control. You guys want a lawnmower video? We could do a lawnmower video. Sounds good. Perfect. Fuck it. I need a beer anyway. See you guys on the next one.